Over the years, Paradox Interactive has added more and more strange paths to Hearts of Iron 4, which I can only describe as a little bit schizo. So, I decided to get together with a few of my friends and rank every single schizo path in Hearts of Iron 4. Now, I have to caveat this with the two friends that I worked on this with, I think are uniquely qualified to rank these, but neither of them play Paradox games or Hearts of Iron. Because of that, you guys are probably going to have vastly different opinions than them on how funny some schizoformables are and how funny some aren't. Additionally, this ended up being really long. The raw recording was like 2.5 hours long. I have obviously had to condense this, and as such, a lot of the formables, which they did not rank particularly high, didn't really end up on the list because I edited them out. Believe it or not, it's actually not that interesting to watch me try and fail to explain how on earth and why on earth Turkey can form Turan to people who just don't know what Turan is or understand that at all. So you'll have to trust me that, yes, you're watching a highlight reel, but I promise it is much more interesting than if you watched the raw footage of everything actually happening. I have my friends here today to rank a bunch of the incredibly schizo paths Hearts of Iron has added over the years. Um, so I am joined by Nick.
What's up?
And Mershad.
Hello.
Both uniquely qualified experts in their fields of being human beings, but completely otherwise unfamiliar with the game, which makes them a perfect companion for this tier list. The very first alternate history path we're going to be ranking is for Afghanistan, and that is reforming the Timurid Empire. This has Afghanistan due to had a very annoying brutal war. They no longer of Iran is Soviet, and who was in the was also to lasted in like the 1500s. Over quite a niche history. Very good content on this campaign while games do. But how you guys feel? This is what first one.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, even as the resident conspiracy theorist, I don't know a lot about the Timurid Empire. I haven't really heard of it that much.
A few moments later.
That's it. Since this is the first one, I think we could start with a solid B tier and see where we go from there. If we have not so schizo things later on, we can move this up to like an A tier. But if we have better ones, we can also move it down.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Let's move on to something substantially more schizophrenic. The Argentina path. This is, of course, the Fourth Reich. A very unique formable you can get. Germany has to have a civil war where the Nazis lose, and then Senior Hitler can escape to Argentina, found the Fourth Reich, and you get a bunch of unique focuses, I believe, including reconquering mainland Germany. Gotta be honest, I feel this is pretty schizo, but I'm curious what you guys think.
If we're bringing in the realism factor, I'm pretty sure, like, at least that first step did happen. I do think Hitler escaped in was it Argentina or Chile? I guess it was Argentina.
It was Argentina. That's why they
Argentina
get this
is the
path.
one that people talk about. Yeah.
Of course, ironically, for this to happen in the game, it actually has to have the Nazis lose like before the World War. They have to go into their monarchist civil war, and we'll get in some Germany schizopaths later. They've got some fun ones. But for this to happen in game, the Germans can't just lose World War II. They have to like actually never even start, more or less. There's several paths, by the way, where we will see someone similar to Senior Hitler, which all only happen if Germany has his civil war and the Nazis lose.
Makes sense. All
Right.
things considered, though, what I would say is that this is kind of messed up to say this is pretty funny to happen. I feel like we have to rank the funniness of it
Oh,
too, like the
100%. The
ironicness of
funny
the
factor is
situation.
very important here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we lose a little bit of the realism though, just because I think how do I put this as the conspiracy theorist, right? Like I think if Hitler wasn't who he was, I don't think he would have done anything in Argentina. I think what needed to happen in the European stage for sort of the formation of the new world order that we exist in, I don't know, kind of needed to happen. And if I feel like Hitler and like the creation of just the modern world after World War II was
Yeah, but we're
pretty yeah.
gotta. I feel like the realism factor. This is more everything with senior Hitler or a similar style character is going to be not particularly serious and incredibly schizo in the fact that sure, man, whatever. Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't Hitler just decide that Argentina is the Fourth Reich and fourth time's the charm?
I
But
think it's a good A.
yeah, I would generally agree
agreed.
there. I feel like this is a
Agreed.
very baseline. Like this is a solid schizo path. It's not so ludicrous that it makes it into S tier, but there's a fair amount of content. It's very unique. All right,
Also, the hat adds into it. The
Oh
hat
yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
picture.
I
I kind of like that profile picture they got.
mean, the sunglasses, no mustache, so it's probably a different guy.
Kind of gives like a Breaking Bad vibe. I don't know.
All right, now speaking of absurdly schizo, this is a path you can take as Austria, and it requires a little bit of explanation. So, as Austria, you have to, do a bunch of stuff, make it down towards establishing Austria-Hungary. You have to take an extra step of conquering Switzerland, which contains the micronation of Liechtenstein, and even did back then. Then you have to beat Germany, completely conquer Germany, beat the Nazis. Then, through a series of secret events, a secret path opens up where you can reform and embrace your Liechtenstein royal titles and somehow form all of Austria Hungary into Liechtenstein. This leads you into two more incredibly absurd, unique paths you can take, both based slightly on real world events. One, since the royals of Liechtenstein a long time ago wanted to purchase Alaska, you can ask the 1940s United States to please let us purchase Alaska like we tried back in the 1400s. And also, because the Liechtenstein flag is very similar to the flag of Haiti, you can get a war goal on Haiti to say, no, we can't both have this flag and go invade Haiti. I personally think this is one of the most absurd schizopaths in the entire game. I would rank it an S, but I'm curious what you guys think.
Right on its face, just again from the absurd factor, I'm thinking high A or S.
To me, the creativity of what you can do after you conquer everything too adds to it as well.
Yeah, that is, and I know I didn't talk as much about Senior Hitler's unique content, but it had a fair amount as well. And this one, I will say the unique content you get is pretty late into the game. Like, you have to have literally beaten Germany before you can do these other two things. And if you've beaten Nazi Germany, it's not like the Haiti War is going to be particularly hard. Uh,
True, but it's something to do after. It's part of the end game.
yeah. So I would put this S, but I'm curious what you guys think.
I agree. I think S is because
All
it's
right,
a tier
it might be
above
low S tier, but
Senior
yeah.
Hitler.
Now, for most countries, I've only picked a single path for that country. Austria is very unique because this is the first Austrian schizopath. There's actually a second one that's going to seem a little familiar. Uh, so, if the Germans lose the Civil War, Austria can have this weird exile, a painter who literally has his paint all over his face, Johann Heidler, who can then First, reform Austria-Hungary, and then if you go conquer Germany, can form a unique Grobstreich. Reformation of Austria, Hungary, and Germany, which gets you like cores and compliance over like all of this. Generally speaking, this is very, very similar to the normal Austria-Hungary path. There's only like one unique thing you can do because you have Johann Heidler as your leader instead of like Otto von Habsburg. But it is just incredibly absurd. And as I said, this is not the only time we're going to see what I like to call a secret Hitler if the Germans lose the Civil War.
The funny part about it is, imagine if Hitler wasn't a thing in Germany. He could have just been some other leader somewhere else and caused
Well, the
havoc in the world
the fun
in another
fact
way.
is that Hitler was born in Austria, so it really does
Right,
kind of make
right.
sense.
Right.
No, it doesn't really, but
Well, I mean, I feel like we're kind of. I've got the question in my head: is it like, do the conditions make the man, or the man make the conditions? Like,
see, in a weird
would
way,
Germany have had another Hitler if you didn't have Hitler?
I almost could see this being, I don't want to say more realistic than the Fourth Reich, but Hitler is Austrian, right? Let's say he loses power in Germany due to a civil war. I could see him going back to his homeland of Austria, getting back into politics. Now, him being able to beat Germany and also reform Austria-Hungary, yeah, that's a little out there, but he's still in Europe. He's still pursuing. He's like, he wanted Europe unification with Austria and Germany. He's just kind of doing it the opposite way around.
Plus,
Right.
it's not like he's gonna go back to painting, right? He's already left that life behind him. So
Right, he'll continue his political career, and I think from the sort of realism perspective, this actually does seem like it could make sense. Where again, it's like doesn't gain traction. Germany goes back to Austria, and perhaps Austria. I don't know what their woes were at the time of World War II, but maybe he, I don't know, gets some
It was
traction
rough. I'm
there.
not gonna lie, but
And comparing this to the Argentina one, I think it actually makes a lot more sense because, like, you know, to me, the Argentina escape after losing World War II to the Allies, it seems almost. This might seem a little weird. It's it's like they wouldn't have done Epstein's suicide if no one knew who he was, right? Like
mhm.
it was kind of the escape plan after kind of getting caught up at the end, and that's what I think the Argentina was. It's like it kind of necessitates like losing World War II to the Allies on that big world stage like that.
Yeah. No,
So that's where
I
I
kind of
think
see
this
what you're
kind of
doing.
has
Yeah.
a bit of a leg up on it. Yeah.
So now the question is, do we think this one is A tier or S tier? Because it sounds like it's definitely you want it above
I'm
the
putting it above Argentina for sure.
yeah.
In A, I think we can get throw this low S still.
All right,
yeah, low S
all
is
right.
reasonable.
All right. Moving on. All right, now speaking of a slop DLC, this is from the slop DLC, but this might be this is one of the paths that inspired me to make this video.
Our battle ended 500 years ago. Well, now I'm ready for a rematch. Took you long enough.
So believe it or not, this is a Chile path. You can do this as Chile. And what you do as Chile is you form the Mapuche state, which is the indigenous peoples who lived there before they were colonized by Spain. Then what you do is you get war goals on pretty much everyone in North America. We'll go back and forth here, but I'll let you look at these. And as you conquer, you set up puppet states which are run by the indigenous people of whatever region this is. So you've got like the Mupache, the Gujarani, the Pindaram, which for whatever reason is most of Brazil, El Dorado, the Incan Empire. I can't even read that. It's like this something state. It's too low resolution. The Istmo Amerindian state. And this goes even into North America. We've got, for whatever reason, Canada. I think the tag is not correct on that one. But then you've got the United Inuit states. Indigenista Mexico, the Maya state, Mosquito Kingdom. Also, for whatever reason, just the entire United States is just United Native American States, which, sure, man, whatever. But I think the pinnacle of Schizo is Chile is taken over in a civil war by their native peoples, and then somehow Chile conquers literally all of North and South America and sets up more indigenous puppet regimes, and all of North and South America is just run by whatever the native populations were, which already is insane beforehand, even more so when you factor in this is a World War II game. For me, this is like the S tier for Schizopath, but I'm open to discussion. Because
Right.
this
I mean, it
is
is
absurdly
absolutely
unrealistic.
insane conceptually. Uh, Now, can I ask what's like the spiritual state of these indigenous people across like just across the board? I mean, are they like
Generally, they'd be like kind of assuming now. I actually don't know what they would be like in the 1940s, but assuming it's anything like they were pre-colonialism, it was mostly polytheistic. In North America, you'd see more kind of like totemist
right?
tradition.
Yeah, it's just like kind of textbook pagan stuff.
Yeah,
Also, whoever came up with this idea in the first place, hats off to you, sir. It's pretty funny.
yeah, it is. This is a very schizopath, for a variety of reasons. I mean, some of them it's like okay, the Incan Empire. The Incan Empire, funnily enough, I didn't include it as its own path just because it's kind of already included in this one. Peru has like a reform the Inca path, but that's kind of less insane than Chile doing all of this. Um, the Incan Empire specifically, as well as the Aztecs and some of the Mexico people, had a more unified central government and kind of a more lasting resistance and more lasting, even to this day, kind of indigenous pride in those. But you really don't see a whole lot of like a lot of these other places really kind of like you don't see a whole lot of Maya or Mosquito, which by the way actually was like a native people, the Mosquito people. Um, but
I wonder if we go far enough to the history, what comes of the United States and Canada?
yeah, United Native American States is just absurd. It's like whatever,
Right.
just it's still just the U.S. They didn't like split it up. I don't know why they didn't split it up, considering how diverse like the indigenous peoples of the American like that encompass modern day America are. The fact that it's all
True.
just lumped into one, where Mexico is split into like a bunch of little ones, is it's so weird. I don't know why they chose to do that. This is an absurd schizopath from the sloppiest of slop DLCs the game has, um, which is all about revamping South America and giving him a bunch of content, which is a little strange considering South America was not involved in World War II. Uh,
Does this
Well,
allow them to become involved in World
it
War
does
II?
if you use some of their alternate history. I mean, there's no way you don't get involved if you do this path. You have to conquer like Canada and Brazil and the U.S. You're gonna be involved in World War II by doing this.
Okay.
Now
I
again,
mean,
I would rank this S, but I could be convinced if you guys think it's so unrealistic that it has to knock it down some points.
right. I mean, I think I've been kind of reflecting on why this seems unrealistic. I think it has to do with that much of the like Western modern world has kind of like revolved around building like essentially what is an efficient machine, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
sort of the machine of like Western industrialism. Ah,
plus,
sorry. Yeah. Um, just like I feel like the way like the way of life of indigenous folks, I don't think like it has the power to perhaps resist a time for a time, like just the cold like brutality of that industrial machine, but I don't think it's able to overtake it, right?
Yeah.
I think
And to be
that's where
fair,
it
to do
has to
this,
make sense.
ironically, you have to have the only way you accomplish this is with a really highly organized modern military conquering the continent. And the idea that that then goes and forms a bunch of like Native American states just seems contrary to common sense.
Right, at what point do you become the thing that you were trying to destroy? I think it's fucking hilarious, and I think it's so fun to think about, though. So I'll give it an S.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Like, could this ever happen in 800,000 iterations of our planet? No. But that's what makes it a fun schizopath.
It's
So
a
to
thinker,
me,
though.
Mhm.
yeah, to me, I'm all about comedy. So being a little bit biased toward that sense of humor style, the realism, if it's not real, it's not bad. But I feel like it's a solid S tier.
Alright, S tier it is. Alright, now this one's pretty schizo. As Estonia, first you can conquer Finland. You can invoke a this is a fascist Estonia path. You invoke a fascist empire, like uprising in Finland somehow, and then you unify and you become the empire of Estonia, Finland. And then you go conquer a bunch of more land, and you get cores in all this land, and you form the Empire of Finno-Ugra.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Which is just a little strange for Estonia, considering it's Estonia. You know, it's not the most famous of countries, nor the most militarily famous of countries, considering that they actually were pretty much just conquered by the Soviets without bloodshed at the start of the war. And that was, I mean, they did participate. They got conquered by the Germans a little bit mid-war, but like, these guys weren't a particularly major player, and the idea that they could conquer Finland when the Russians failed is certainly interesting. Also, I'm very
I feel
disappointed.
like
They do not have any war goals on Korea, no references to the Finno-Korean hyperwar. Very disappointing.
if your country were to get invaded and then somehow you defend off barely, that would be motivation enough for you to build a stronger military um, to do what you want later on. So I guess, although not realistic, I can see it happening, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Maybe, I mean, it looks like there's a lot of probably what is that land on the east, like of this picture, like largely like Russian land.
Yes, you'll have to go to war with Russia to get this.
Right. Is there anything important in any of that land? Any like big cities or anything? Or is this just like
Leningrad is probably the only one.
right? I was gonna say most of that land kind of just looks like probably like
Yeah,
almost Arctic wasteland. Like
mostly, yeah. It's not the strongest one.
yeah. I don't know. To me, it doesn't make sense. It's like, what's the incentive for just taking over like random Arctic land? Or
You're
almost
embracing your
Arctic
Finno-Ugrian heritage. I do think this one is actually
land. Shit,
rooted in a
man.
pagan. This is most of the land that used to have a very similar pagan religion. Keyword there is used to, because by 1940s, this was all pretty long wiped out. Like, none of this area was a majority or even really like had significant population of that pagan belief anymore. So
I'd be surprised if it was there by the year like 1,000.
yeah.
Like,
All right, where are we
granted, I
ranking this
don't know
now?
my dates,
It is
but
absurdly unrealistic, and unfortunately, I feel like it's kind of funny, but it's not that funny. It's a little funny that Estonia conquers a bunch of stuff, but they're conquering a bunch of like ice, you know.
Like, who cares?
we gotta get the dude. There should be a mod for this game where you play on the like the ice wall, like the flat Earth ice wall map.
I after this video, I'm gonna look that up. I'm curious because people have made a lot of total conversion mods, like where you're not
Yeah.
fighting on normal Earth, but I have never looked for that. And there are, by the way, if you think any of these paths are schizo, there are mods which have absurd shit. Especially TNO. There's a mod called TNO. Well, there's two mods. There's a mod called Millennium Dawn, which is the modern day mod. And then there's a mod called TNO, which is the New Order, is what the mod stands for. Which basically just adds literally an absurd number of schizopaths to the modern day mod. We're talking like Nick Fuentes takes absolute control of America. type insane Scitzo mods.
Incredible.
Which is the whole thing's a shitpost. And for whatever reason, also incredibly complex, so I don't enjoy playing it that much. But anyway, what is our ranking for the Empire of Finno-Ugra?
I'm cool to
Like a low
toss it
C
a B,
tier.
maybe.
Really?
Could be like a low B.
I'll tie break to a low B. I think it's at least a little funny.
Okay. I guess I didn't
Alright.
see the humor in this one, I guess.
Now this one, unfortunately, I don't have a good screenshot of, and I don't know why. Because one, I don't have this DLC because it is one of the few DLCs that I think makes the game actively worse. Because of, funnily enough, the Ethiopia focus tree. Though not this branch, but there's a branch of the Ethiopia focus tree which just completely breaks the vanilla game. So I wasn't able to get a screenshot of this. But to do this as Ethiopia, you obviously have to fend off the Italians and win that war. Reunify Ethiopia. From there, if you get on the good grace of the Allies, or you conquer land from the Allies, you can conquer Jamaica. Now, Jamaica has a specific religion called Rastafarianism or something like that. Rastafarianism believes that the Zion Mountains in Ethiopia are kind of like the origin of the world, like their version, not really the Garden of Eden, but kind of the same similar thing. So, for whatever reason, as Ethiopia, if you own Jamaica and a bunch of other Caribbean islands where Rastafarianism is popular, you can basically convert to Rastafarianism and declare the Empire of Zion, considering that you control the Zion Mountains. Which, a little absurd considering Ethiopia was the largest Coptic Christian nation at the time, and probably still is. But I'll admit, pretty fucking funny. Because the idea of Ethiopia, which is landlocked, conquering Jamaica to form this is absurd on its own.
I mean, I could see it being like a move of like a conspiracy of the New World Order to like wipe out like a large Orthodox stronghold by like importing Rastafarianism into Ethiopia. Would be like
that would be interesting.
hilarious.
It would be pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, but that gives me the mechanism, man. You could have like, again, it's just like the Satanists and people in the New World Order are trying to crush Christianity. So that's how they get the Ethiopians.
I would
How they get you, man.
I would still generally describe this one as more of a goofy one.
Yeah.
Because the idea that
give it an A
Ethiopia
tier.
could be unified enough to defeat the Italians on their own, and then somehow just get convinced that
Pull up to Jamaica.
yeah. This one is very much kind of a joke formable, I think. But that makes it a bit schizo, I think. Where are we ranking it though?
Do you have thoughts overall, Rashad? Anything you want to?
Yeah, I generally agree with what y'all said. I feel like a solid B tier, high B tier, just because it's so absurd. It's kind of funny,
I'm thinking high A tier, bro. I like this one.
Oh, sure, I'm for it. I was just comparing it to the ones we've had
Empire of
before.
Zion, put it in A tier. High A tier, because it is very funny. I wish I could have had an in-game screenshot of it, but I unfortunately could not. Alright, the first German one. This one needs a little bit of an explanation, because it might not seem as insane as it looks right now.
I thought you were dead.
My death was greatly exaggerated.
Where you reform the Holy Roman Empire. However, to get this one to happen, you have to do a really absurd sequence of events. First, as Germany, you have to stoke a civil war so that the Nazis lose and are thrown out of power. Bye-bye Nazis, they're dead. Next, you have to restore the Kaiserreich. Bring the Kaiser back from exile. Except you actually can't bring the Kaiser back from exile. You have to try and bring him back from exile and have the Netherlands refuse. And then instead of invading the Netherlands, you have to say, oh well, we'll go with our second choice. After that, you can do a bunch of normal stuff as the Kaiserreich of Germany, including sending a delegation to the United Kingdom, like kind of to reconcile your differences, stoke an alliance, restore your differences. Because, the guy you got instead of the old German Kaiser is like a closer relative to the British royal family. From then, you have to specifically do this thing. Germany has a feature where you can remove air safety regulations so that your planes train way faster but have more air accidents. Then you send the entire royal family, minus your like daughter Victoria, to the United Kingdom on the Hindenburg. And then the Hindenburg blows up in the United Kingdom. And Victoria is the only one who's alive, and she becomes the Kaiserin. From there, she can conquer all the land the Holy Roman Empire used to have, and then you can reform the Holy Roman Empire. Which is just the most absurd series of events possible, I think.
Right.
Also, kind of seems random.
But this is this one's been in the game a long time. This is one of the first Scitzo paths they added. It requires so many things, none of which are luck-based for the most part. But like you have to do so specifically in order for this to happen. At least to their credit, the Holy Roman Empire was actually not that. Like it's been like 200 years since the last time it was there. Which, I mean, like there's definitely some people who like had some like in the back of their mind, I miss the old Holy Roman Empire, nice unification of Germans and to be fair, they don't get cores on everything these guys conquered. They just get cores on all the Holy Roman Empire. But you're gonna have to beat all these guys anyway to do that. But where are we feeling for, especially factoring in everything that has to happen for this path to work?
I feel like since it was a starter kit, we could rate it a little bit differently because this is what led every other schizopath to become a thing,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should rate it a little bit higher just for that, because without this, there would be no video today.
Thank you for your service, Holy Roman Empire, Germany.
Makes you feel better. This is not the only German schizopath we're going to be ranking.
Yeah, I don't know if I have anything like super clear, articulable to say about this. Based on vibes, though, I honestly, I'm kind of thinking just like a solid B.
I think that's fair. Will you agree, Michelle?
Boy, oh boy, we're gonna have a fat B tier today.
That makes sense. Now, speaking of a familiar face. As Greece, if again the Germans lose a civil war, and you're going down the imperialist path to restore the Byzantine Empire, you can get visited by one of the potential candidates for Byzantine Empire, this strange fellow called Adolphus the First. Very, very familiar looking face, although much more elegant, much fancier beard. And then, of course, you'll have to factor in the already absurdity that Greece, who at this point was not in a very good spot, they're like in a shit ton of debt, very, very divided. They're able to survive because they live in this like really defensible area. The idea that then they are going to reconquer. Now, this guy reconquered like most of the actual Roman Empire. You just need Anatolia, Hungary, Yugoslavia, and parts of Italy to actually restore the Byzantine Empire. This guy just went a little above and beyond. But yeah, the idea that Greece is restoring the Byzantine Empire, I think at this point, about 500, 600 years after it fell, a little schizo. And the idea that them doing it with Adolf Hitler declaring himself Adolphus the First Emperor of the Byzantines, pretty schizo. Somebody should check on him.
That is pretty fucking hilarious. I mean, if it's the Byzantine Empire, is it supposed to be like an Orthodox empire still? Like,
it depends on the path you play. If you do this, though, it's more like a agnostic fascist path as opposed to like the traditional monarchy.
it probably pays like some sort of lip service to some sort of like vaguely old religious aesthetic, but
yeah,
it's very distinctly modern in its style.
Especially with Hitler as the leader. I'm sorry, as with Adolphus
Yeah,
as the lead.
Adolphus. Yeah. It's a nice beard he's got, though.
This is of all the secret Hitlers, he's dripped the fuck out. I gotta give him.
Yeah.
I mean, solid B tier, honestly. But there is so much to do. I feel like A tier is valid too.
Yeah, I mean this is a very. You have like after you restored the Byzantines, you have ways to continue to try and restore the full Roman Empire.
I feel, but
Which,
I
to
guess
be fair,
it
as
depends on how
insane as
deep
it
into the end
sounds,
game you go.
as insane as it sounds, keep in mind that the actual Benito Mussolini did fantasize about actually restoring the actual Roman Empire at this time.
Yeah, I have heard about that actually. Yes.
What was it about the Roman Empire that he wanted to restore?
He just wanted to vaguely restore the Italians back to how they were when they were
Just
Romans.
the spirit of conquest and
And
world
also, I should
domination.
note, in World War One, the Greeks were fantasizing about restoring the Byzantines. Like in World War One, the Greeks wanted to restore much of their Byzantine borders. They did, however, mostly give that up and instead went for the Bengali idea, which they also got beaten by Turkey about. Do you think B or A? Nick, what are you feeling?
I think a high B is okay for this.
Okay, high B for Adolphus of the Byzantines. Now this guy, the Ma clique. You can actually do this with any of them. There's 3 Ma cliques. There are 3 warlords. They're all brothers, and they controlled different warlords up in the Chinese, the north up here, the area that was primarily Islamic at the time. If you, as one of these Ma cliques, instead of staying a warlord, proclaim a rival government to both the communists and the Republicans, and then go on to conquer and unify all of China, you can, instead of being the Ma clique, you can declare China reunited, and you can uniquely declare the Chinese Sultanate, or the Islamic Republic of China if you're democratic.
我在北京。
Which I'll admit, there's not actually as much unique content as you would think because most of the content's about, conquering and reunifying China. But the fact that you can name it the Chinese Sultanate is pretty fucking schizo. Especially the idea that one of these warlords from back then actually manages to conquer all of China is pretty absurd.
Right.
Pretty funny.
Now, don't get me wrong, this is hysterical. One thing I'm thinking though is I don't know how compatible Islamic thought would be with sort of the Buddhist Taoist thought of
Not very. Although in
Chinese
his
folk.
credit, he is conquering it by force, not peacefully.
Right, by the sword, as they say.
It'd be incredibly unrealistic if he just peacefully united China and declared it a sultanate. But in this one, he is somehow conquering the communists and the Republicans and all the other warlords and declaring himself, which I could see them being like, okay, this guy definitely has the mandate from some heaven if he managed to do that. Like, I could see that line of thinking.
Right. I don't know. Again, I'm the China fanboy, but I also like communist China. So
Yeah,
I
again,
think
I still am not forgiving Paradox for giving them no schizopaths.
right. And again, I just don't know how much I like the the Islamic takeover. Oh, I put it in B tier.
B tier, all right. I mean, to be fair, there's not as much unique content with this, so I'm not going to fight it that much. Mostly just, haha, funny. Also, if you instead go the route of God King for these guys, or like Cult of Personality, you can instead call China Great Ma, because their last name is Ma.
Right.
All right. Speaking of Iraq, now Iraq, you might not know, actually was involved in World War II. And they have a unique, I think, fascist path where, actually, no, this might be their democratic path, believe it or not, where you can form the Hashemite Caliphate. Basically, you declare your leader the Caliph, the leader of Sunni Islam, and then you'll get cores over pretty much most of the Muslim world and also Spain for some reason. You also restore Al-Andalus, but you get cores over Arabia, the Levant, Turkey, Morocco, North Africa, and all of Spain for some reason. And it's frankly pretty fucking powerful. You get like some absurd bonuses considering you start as Iraq. Again, this is Iraq forming this. Not even like Saudi Arabia.
This is the type of shit, man. It's like, need another crusade for this kind of thing.
I mean, this is basically them doing their reverse crusade. This is just like you recreate all the Islamic conquests.
Right.
Which again, I mean, weirdly enough, if this was a pact that like Turkey had, and we will get to Turkey pretty soon, I feel like it'd be a little more believable. But the idea that Iraq is doing all of this in World War II is certainly something. Although the one thing that helps their realism is that this mostly requires you to conquer all the African colonies of the Allies, which they were a little preoccupied with at the time due to the fact that they were fighting Germany and losing. So, like, there
Right.
at least is some, like, okay, most of the people who own this land might be a little distracted at the moment. Maybe they could let this slide. Or not let it slide, but maybe they would actually lose this. If you're, like, collaborating with Germany at the time. That being said, how Scitzo is it for Iraq to declare themselves the Caliph and unite the Islamic world during
Hard
World
to
War
do.
II?
Pretty hard to do.
Hard to do, yes. Scitzo.
I could see it being part of some greater scheme in the world theater.
Right? You know? Me personally, I'd give this A tier. I think it's pretty Scitzo.
I'd go low A, yeah.
Okay, low A. The communist Buddhist path, where you form
What the hell is this?
Shobukukokuduo, which roughly
Nick, I'm gonna need
translates
you
to
to
like
read that 3 times.
the smiling land. Hold up, let me go.
I say the whole world must learn of our peaceful ways. By force.
Yeah, you just want everybody to smile. You want everybody happy. So we have to conquer them to make them smile. All right, we have to make them Buddhist and make them happy by force. Okay, like we'll make everybody smile. We have to conquer a bunch of specific Buddhist sites across China, Japan, Korea, and Thailand. It's just absurd. It's so funny. It's very Scitzo.
What this reminds me of?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Frog and Smiling Friends.
Yeah. I kind of see that. Anyway,
What's your official score?
I know this is a Japan wins scenario, which automatically hurts Nick. But in this case, it's communist Buddhist Japan who wants everybody to smile and just embrace Buddhist teachings and the communist philosophy.
How do they treat China in this?
They do conquer them, I'm not gonna lie, but you I think get cores on them, which implies that you're treating them well because you're all Buddhist, one way or the other somehow.
I'm willing to not hate on this one as hard.
They're still
But
communist.
I'll let y'all pick the tier.
All right, what are you thinking, Rashad?
I feel like either a low B or a high C because of the gimmick alone.
Really, I was thinking A because I think it's very funny. I
Actually,
know.
we
I know.
Nick,
Listen, if you could
towards
see
A.
this guy's
Arbiter.
portrait, if you could see the smiling, laughing, fat monk leading Japan,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't find a picture of it, but
Put him in post, and then we'll see it when we go
okay,
back
yeah.
and watch the
You
video.
can see it when you watch the video.
I'll go ahead and tie break with an A.
All right. Well, we'll put
I
it.
think it's a fun concept.
All right. Now, speaking of a fun concept, Trotsky, Mexico. So if you didn't know, Trotsky was hiding in Mexico at the start of the war until Stalin had him assassinated with an ice pick. But what if he became active in Mexican politics, and then you turned Mexico into the Mexican Soviet Republic, and then conquered the United States, and also went to war with Japan to avenge himself and get revenge on Stalin? that's kind of the gimmick with this one, which I'll admit, pretty straightforward, but I think very funny, very schizo. What if Trotsky took control of Mexico and turned it into a Soviet republic? Is a very straightforward schizo idea. Right to the point, you get what's going on. So how are we ranking it? As you know, Mexico at the time was a completely chaotic society where tons of people were grabbing power and doing civil wars. So it's not as unrealistic as you might think. Though it is pretty unrealistic.
I mean, I could see if they had any sort of like communist like impulse.
They
Could have
did.
happened, right?
Plus, in this path, I believe he turns it into an atheist state, which, yeah, I could see the New World Order, being okay with that.
Life is absurd.
Don't say that! God forgive you!
There is no God.
Hey!
Right, but I do think like I guess I was gonna say like I feel like that'd be difficult, but like no, because even if you look at like Russia where that happened largely, right? Like obviously Orthodox people in Russia got it like pretty bad, but like they still bounced back pretty hard and stuck around. And so I don't know if the ability, I mean maybe if it's like a flavor of communism, because I feel like you could just like do like a flavor of communism that like integrates like Catholic liberation theology or something and like make it work like that.
See that? I can see that.
So where are
But
we
if he's
ranking it?
making it atheist, I think that part's like the unrealistic part. I think it's you sort of turn Catholicism into like a new religion of the masses that's disconnected from
That's
like
okay.
actual like
Mhm.
sort of Christian thought, but it sort of it's sort of a new spiritualism, like modern spiritualism and religion sort of masked under Catholicism.
Yeah,
That's
there's
a
actually
missed opportunity for sure.
a whole part of the American or the Mexican focus tree is dealing with the balance between the various warlords and cartels and the Catholic Church, who are all very powerful entities at the time, with a lot of influence in Mexico.
Indeed.
This one's a thinker though. I'd be willing to put it in like low A.
What do you think, Michelle?
Yeah, I could see low A.
All right, low A it is. We got to keep moving on because it's actually going. I'm gonna have to edit this down at this point. This is, I'll admit, taking longer than I expected. But we're getting near to the end. The Philippines. This one's also pretty straightforward. If you didn't know, MacArthur was stationed in the Philippines for a long time at the start of the war. In this one, the Philippines tries to go fascist, but MacArthur steps in, puts down the fascist uprising, and instead installs a military dictatorship. Basically brings all the U.S. nuclear scientists to the Philippines, gets nukes himself instead of America getting nukes, defeats Japan, and then goes to war with America to get rid of the traitors back home.
Excuse me, somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
That's fucking awesome.
I think this is S tier.
Honestly, just with that, I'll put it. Like, hold on. So what is his philosophy? Like, what's his beef with America? Where he,
The
wants
weirdest
to
part is they
wipe them
honestly
out.
don't even necessarily like at this point he's like the absolute leader of the Philippines, so I guess he's like, let my people go. But
It's
literally
like
the only
Avatar, bro. He's Jake Sully.
it's kind of like the only explanation that it's given is the focus name, just traitors back home. Actually, let me look it up on my phone. I'm kind of curious. Actually, did they give a reason?
Is it like a hatred for like the colonial like impulse and the colonial efforts of the homeland?
Let
If
me
so,
check it
again, this is
in the
literally just
Philippines
Avatar,
National
bro.
Focus Tree on the wiki. The explanation is the United States has become weak and fearful. No one there wants to do what must be done, so it's up to us to purge the ranks of the politicians and cowards and reclaim the shining city upon a hill for the American people.
He's gonna drain the swamp.
That's basically what it
Make
is.
America great. Oh my god.
Anyway.
Yeah. Either way, S
It
tier.
sounds like an S. I mean, this one's so funny, man. This one's so funny. All right. Poland. Speaking of funny, the Poland elects a bear as king of Poland and unites all the Slavic people.
I was at the top of this huge rock, and all of a sudden this...
I don't speak bear.
Talk of an insane one based partially on our true story. An exiled Polish division in real life had a pet bear called Wojciech they bought from a guy in Iran when they were basically leaving the Soviet Union through Iran to make their way to the Allies to go fight. And he basically was like their artillery loader. So what you need to do is, as Poland, become a monarchy, and you elect Anastasia, or like the last Romanov, someone claiming to be like Anastasia Romanov or someone related to them, someone who claims to be a Romanov. And you unite on this quest to unite the Slavic peoples. Then what you need to do is find Wojciech, who you have to get to Iran to do that, which is an absurdly complicated thing. And you have to make him a field marshal. Then you have to conquer the Soviet Union. And when you conquer the Soviet Union, you'll discover that Anastasia Romanov is in fact a fraud and was lying to you and forged her documents, and she has no real connection to the royal family. So you have to depose her and choose a new king, and who else but the new beloved icon Wojciech, who's helped lead you as a field marshal through this great war. I mean, that's pretty Scitzo.
So we've talked about this one specifically, Zach, before you and I.
Yes.
I feel like this is the traditional S tier. It's pretty funny, dude. May not be realistic, but it is as funny as you can get. Having a bear ruling a country.
Step 1, get a bear. Step 2, conquer the Soviet Union. Step 3, bear. Okay.
Unrelated to this, though. But anyway, Rashad thinks
Right.
this is an S. What do you think, Nick?
I'm cool to put it in S.
All right. S.
Maybe one of the lower ones, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. It's also one of the older ones, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah. Certified classic.
Now this one actually is a world conquest required. Spain. So if you didn't know, in the Spanish Civil War, the anarchists rose up. And in this scenario, you play as the anarchist and you win the Civil War. Then you go on and you conquer Portugal and you frame the Iberian Defense Council. You know, we, the anarchist communes of Iberia, will then go expand anarchism and free the people of the world from their governments. And then you can conquer the whole world, and this is the only country in the entire game which can get cores, as in, like, you know, a core basically means the people there fully accept you. They're fully behind you. There's no resistance to anything. You can get cores on literally the entire world because you're anarchists, so everybody can do whatever they want locally. Basically, anarchists conquer the entire world. Pretty schizo, in my opinion. What do you think?
That can't be real, right? That's not. We're looking at it, dude. The Earth. We can never tell. I might actually puke. Get back a little. I'm gonna puke. Stay back. Oh my. I'm gonna throw up. Okay.
This sounds like some shit that would happen before Jesus comes back.
You know, that's actually pretty fair.
Like, man.
Brody just unlocked the Jesus ending.
Yeah.
The Global Defense Council unites the world under anarchism, and then Jesus comes back and is like, guys, what on earth?
I mean, it's the entirety of Earth, so.
But where is it on the schizo meter? Keep in mind,
If
this is
Jesus
Spain
comes to save
doing
us,
this, so I think that does take some points away from realism.
I mean, anyone doing this, it's just like, I feel like from just like a spiritual, psychological perspective, like, what does an anarchist like defense council like managing the whole world even mean? Like
Funnily
what do
enough, you
do
actually
do about
you get
conflict?
substantially on this path, even though you get cores over the whole world. It means that while you get a ton of military strength. You get like way worse production than you would everywhere else because everywhere gets like a crazy amount of autonomy because you're like anarchist, so you're not like a real government. And if you notice, by the way, in this screenshot, they're at 0% stability. That's a lot of
Right.
debuffs.
Yeah, because I mean, again, you think about it, it's just like, the world is filled with people who, have sort of they want to cooperate with the spirit of domination and like oppression and like, gather for themselves like as much as they can. I feel like I can't even wrap my head around like it's just like everyone's just like smokes a lot of weed and is really chill and it's just like, ah, you're a cool guy, man. I ain't got beef with you. Like, nah, man. What are all like the psychos gonna do?
Yeah. But where's it on the
Like,
It's funny though.
it's not even unrealistic. It's like unfathomable. Like,
That makes it. The question is, does that make it bad for the schizo, or does it overflow into being incredibly schizo because it's so unfathomable?
I mean, again, there'd have to be some like unbelievable spiritual revolution for something like this to take place. Like,
Mm-hmm.
which I doubt they give any details on that, right? Like,
I mean, you're mostly doing this by force. You're like, you can foment uprisings in the countries, but like, the uprisings will never win unless you go in and invade with your own quote-unquote defense military. I don't know, Rashad, you might need a tiebreak on this one. I think Nick's struggling on the tier list where to put it.
I don't know where to put it at all.
Ah, speaking of schizo. So, if you, as the United States of America, first of all, Germany, Civil War, Nazis lose. Then you, as the United States of America, have another Civil War, and the Confederates win this time. But there's still a democracy. And they have this strange German immigrant guy, Adam Hilt. But he's got some interesting ideas. So we actually elect him leader of the Confederacy, and he unifies North America. I feel this one's pretty self-explanatory. We've seen enough of this fella that
S tier, my man, S tier.
I'm thinking just instant S tier. That's fucking
This
hilarious.
is fucking funny, bro. This is hilarious.
Like, I mean, not even just like the fact that it's Adam Hilt, but the fact that it's like the Confederates came back, won, and then made Hitler their new president. Like, what?
It also feeds into the conspiracy that Hitler didn't kill himself, like didn't commit suicide, and came to the United States.
Well, he didn't, but he went to
take it over. He just runs for office.
Yeah.
All right, I think we got.
But instead of Argentina, you have to go to US, I guess.
We have one more, which is the Soviet schizopath, in which they overthrow the Soviets, restore the Tsar, but then the Tsar continues to empower the Orthodox Church to the point that, like, the Patriarch of Moscow, I think, becomes the absolute monarch of Russia, and then he declares it the Third Rome.
Go fuck yourself, man. I think you're better than me.
I am better than you.
You.
Based
the Third Rome.
Yes, which you might know.
Why the third?
Might know they don't currently control, any of the Roman Empire.
Mediterranean, yeah.
Except for this little part over here, which was part of Rome. But other than that, they control none of Rome.
Iran is, funny enough, untouched as well.
In this scenario, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, where are we putting it?
I don't get the gimmick.
I mean,
I don't get the gimmick. B tier.
You never heard of the... So, Russia, back before they became Soviets, did sort of call themselves the Third Rome. They never took it that seriously, but they're like, we have the Patriarch, we have the Byzantine titles. When the Byzantines fell, we're the last bastion of Rome. Nobody really took it seriously, but they claimed it because it gave them prestige.
I mean, I think they were kind of like one of the sort of bastions of orthodoxy. Although I think it was still around, and
Yeah.
what was the Byzantine Empire. At least some parts. A lot of it, I think, got probably.
Well, I
I don't
might be
know.
biased because I don't know shit about
Geography.
Third World, so I might say like low B tier to high C, but up to y'all, honestly.
I don't know. I think this just sounds like the good ending. Honestly, the Soviets were overthrown. The Tsar was restored. And
then the
you
Tsar
know, we
abdicated so that the patriarch rules the whole country for some reason.
yeah, but you know, I think if it prevented the Industrial Revolution, that's been a disaster for the human race in Russia, at least. I think that's a good ending.
It definitely did not prevent it. This is happening in 1947. The Industrial Revolution and its consequences happened already.
I mean, I feel like did Russia was it Russia industrialized? I don't think it was industrialized under the Tsars.
Well, but keep in mind this is after the Soviets are overthrown. The Soviets already industrialized it.
Right, but maybe we're returning to a former way of life, a way of life that allows for a people to have culture, that allows, you know, for
No, that was the Buddha takeover.
That's true.
hell, well, actually, no, because they're still communists, so it's still like probably an industrial way of life. Not one that my boy Theodore would
Patriarch
approve of.
Meletius, I believe, is this guy's name.
Oh hell yeah!
Anyway, final ranking. What's your ranking, Nick? We'll average it with Mashad's.
Man, I want to put this one at like A plus.
All right, well, then with Mashad's, we'll average it to the top of B tier. Okay, the video's over now. Like, subscribe, or don't. I don't care. Do something. Go watch another video. They're all good.